We turn our focus now on the business desk on a new entrant in the highly competitive sovereign rating space, and that's Sovereign Africa Rating, which will be competing with the likes of the dominant three entities being Moody's, Fitch, as well as Standard & Poor's. Chief Operating Officer Zweli Maziya has also been newly appointed into the position of COO and joins us virtually now. Thank you so much for your time, Zweli. I think let's first talk about how the newly found Africa Sovereign Rating has found its footing competing around its global peers.
Thank you for having me. So Sovereign Africa Ratings focuses on providing sovereign and sub-sovereign credit ratings with a special interest in developing countries, particularly the African continent.
It becomes important to have this sovereign rating agency, particularly at a time where we are drawing closer to the implementation of the Africa Free Trade Agreements, which is likely to bring even far more trade. And it becomes important what sentiment is when it comes to global rating agencies. But with this particular discussion, let's look at how then a rating agency that oversees Africa is likely to boost and not take away from the efforts that are made when it comes to transformation as well as economic progress.
Yes, our point of departure is one of that I'd like to call a 1+1 approach, which means we actually do everything that a normal credit rating agency would do and consider. However, we, in the +1, we like to factor in the structural nature of developing markets in our process. And this is to ensure fair, unbiased, and high quality and independent credit ratings. This includes, for example, consideration for resource endowments, as well as reforms that the countries implement, not only for their own betterment, but to strengthen their ability to meet financial commitments.
And interesting that you mentioned the latter, because I wanted to also find out how you have been received as a rating agency focusing particularly on Africa, and also the need for a rating agency for the continent, which has never been done before.
Yes, you see, credit ratings are used in the determination of borrowing costs. Therefore, an additional opinion that is independent, and I stress independence here, is much needed and beneficial for both the investing markets as well as the rated issuers. This additional opinion will provide investors with more relevant information for their research and bring about a stability on the pricing of borrowing for issuers.
Let's talk about your newly appointed role. What is it really that is going to be top on the agenda of focus?
Well, as the Chief Operating Officer, my responsibilities include ensuring that the functioning of the agency is proper, as well as to actually approach the potential clients that we tend to have. And it's not only focused on Africa. However, at this point, the prime clients are the African countries. However, in terms of Sovereign Africa Ratings, we'd like to actually provide a service to emerging markets as a whole.
Lastly, Zweli, let's also maybe discuss the current outlook for the remainder of this year when it comes to African economies, particularly South Africa, in a precarious world economic environment that includes high inflation and recession worries.
Well, globally, there has been a recession since the pandemic. However, we do see some recovery. There's also high debt that goes along with that, which was incurred during the pandemic. However, we do see a lot of improvement in a number of states.
Thank you so much for sharing your insights with us. That is Zweli Maziya, COO at the Sovereign African Ratings Agency, talking to us this morning about how they aim to maneuver competing with global peers such as Fitch, S&P, as well as Moody's.